Hey everyone, welcome to a quick overview of the upcoming IDs and egos in Limbus Company. We're starting off with the Princess of Manchaland Rodion Fiesta ID. She is a Pleat DPS less support unit. She comes with two unique buffs. Firstly, we have Blooming Form. Everyone that has it gains defense level up for every X stack of it, and when they get hit, they inflict bleed against the attacker and lose a stack. So just some passive bleed potency on the enemies, with the requirement of getting hit, which doesn't happen that often, but it could be neat against unpickable coin enemies. Then for Rodion only, at max stacks it converts to next stage, and at a higher stage she inflicts more bleed and rupture potency with the attack skills coin effects. And it reverts to the previous stage when the stack drops below the requirements. I assume this will only go to the next stage, so +1 bleed and +1 rupture potency, but that's still a lot considering that basically every skill has bleed and rupture potency on a coin. Then we also have Festive Fever. It expires at turn end. Against targets with bleed, deal more damage for every stack, and skills that consume or gain blood feast deal more damage for every stack instead. So more or less we have a burst phase for everyone that gets the buff that just attacks units with bleeds, and it's even more effective if they're basically a blood fiend that has blood feast effects. Then let's go to her skills. Skill 1, it's a fight skill. It's slightly interesting if you would want to run it in an enemy team with Middle Dawn. I don't know why you wouldn't, but she can slot in with her skill 1 and skill 2. But yeah, 2 coin skill at combat start on self and for an ally with the highest max HP. Consume up to X blood feast and apply Wild Blooming Thorn for every side blood feast. It prioritizes blood fiends allies, and if the ally is a blood fiend, she applies more Blooming Form to them. And if there was not enough blood feast to consume, she gains bleed instead. Basically how all the other blood fiends work too. Then on use, gain coin power for every X bleed on the target, and then just on the second coin, on hit we inflict bleed potency and then we inflict rupture potency. Then skill 2, envy 3 coin skill. Combat start on self and for an ally with the least max HP, apply attack power up. Then we consume up to X blood feast and apply Blooming Thorn again. We are still prioritizing blood fiend allies with this, and if it was a blood fiend ally, we apply additional attack power up and Blooming Thorn this time. And once again, if there was not enough blood feast, she gains bleed instead. On use, she gains coin power for every X bleed on the target. Then we have very nicely on the first coin on hit, inflict rupture count and bleed count. If I have to guess, I would just say it's probably gonna be both +2 count, so that this would be a rupture neutral skill. Same what I kinda assume with her skill 3, that her skill 2 and skill 3 will rupture neutral. And yeah, third coin on hit, she inflicts more rupture and bleed potency. Then we come to her skill 3. Last skill, 3 coins. Before use, at X plus Blooming Thorn, activate Ascend and Don Quixote Heartblood arts to finally instead, so basically has a stronger version of skill 3 instead if you build up enough Blooming Form on her. But let's look at the normal version first. On use, if the target has X plus bleed, she gains more coin power. And then to self and highest resonance allies, apply X plus Y for every set plus feast consumed Festive Fever this turn and next turn. So we have 2 turns of basically just going unga bunga and hopefully dealing massive damage. Then to self and highest resonance allies, apply Blooming Form 2. So some more defensive buffs for the others and more bleed potency and rupture potency for herself. First coin on hits, she inflicts rupture and bleed counts. The other 2 coins are rupture and bleed potency. Very nice. And then we see her buffed skill 3. Same as the normal version, she gains coin power if the target has enough bleed on them. She applies Festive Fever this turn and next turn to the allies, depending on the resonance. And then she also applies Blooming Form. She deals more damage for X blood feast consumed by this unit, so this is how you gain the biggest DPS out of the skill. And also after this attack, she will consume all the Blooming Form on self. So you will still get the payoff of extra Rupture and Bleed potency, but afterwards you will have to build up again to gain another strong skill 3. So yeah, first coin is still the same, Rupture and Bleed count, and second and third coins are also still the same with Rupture and Bleed potency instead. Then we come to her defensive skill, and even for guard it is still interesting since, hey, another ID got an actual clashable guard. That in itself is already pretty strong. And the other effects are also pretty neat. On use, reduce bleed count by X for 2 other allies with the highest bleed potency times count value, and increase blood feast by 3 reduction bleed potency X count reduced. This effect reduces bleed count to 0, the bleed expires, and if the effect that ally is a blood fiend, reduce the bleed count further. So it really just helps all the other blood fiends that put self-bleed on them. You can just remove the bleed on them without them even taking damage, and you still increase the blood feast. So if you ever had problems with keeping Quacker alive, this will just keep him alive and there's no other negative. Otherwise, on Clash Win, she gains Blooming Form from this, and she inflicts bleed and bleed count on her coin hits. Then her passive, she comes with Blood Feast because she's a Blood Fiend ID, it's pretty standard. Then her actual passive, Hard Blood Fawn. When another ally takes bleed damage or consumes Blood Feast, unit gains Blooming Fawn. So just some more passive appliance of her buff. Then heal HP on self by X% of the damage dealt with base skills. And if she's at max HP, she heals one ally with the lowest HP percentage instead by the excess healing. So this is, I think, the first time that we see something like that the self-healing gets converted to healing for the party allies. Also still goes very well with something like Quacker that deals stupid amounts of self-damage to himself. If he cannot keep up with his self-healing, she will do it for him then. Then, lastly, her support passive. To one ally with the highest bleed potency at turn end, reduce the ally's bleed potency by X max and apply bleed potency reduced by Y Blooming Fawn. Not the most spectacular support passive. Might have some nice uses if you go up against bleed teams or for some reason you run the other blood fiends without her. But bleed removal can always be nice. And then we're gonna come to Fell Bullet Yisang. Got a lot of hype with the trailer we got because it has a beautiful animation. Sadly, I think the ego kinda falls flat. It must basically deal stupid amounts of damage if it will ever be usable. Let's start off with just straight up looking at the Ego Awakening skill. 2 coin skill. Targets the ally with the least HP. Before attack we gain highest resonance plus X torn memory. Torn memory is nothing special, it literally is just a builder spell that is gonna get removed at the end of the attack. Don't need to worry too much about it. His had resonance was Divide Resonance, he gains highest resonance times X torn memory instead. And he gains poise for every X torn memory. And yeah, after attack he loses every memory. Then, first coin. This coin deals damage only against the main target, that is the ally. If the main target is an ally, deal plus X% more damage for every torn memory. Then, on ally kill, apply poise to self and 2 allies. That is kinda, could be a huge poise boost. His Plate Lineage Yisang ID, I feel like, doesn't really need poise potency, but his Peacock ID could really profit from getting poise potency. Count isn't a problem on that ID, but he just doesn't build up poise potency really well on himself, so that could be nice. On ally kill, he gains eco resources for the kills ally skill 1 and 2 affinities. And if he fails to kill an ally with this coin, he just gains some poise potency for himself. Then the second coin. This coin deals damage only against the sub-targets, which should be the enemies. And if the first coin failed to kill the ally, one sub-target takes damage. So if you kill the ally with your first coin, this is gonna be an AoE that should hit everyone. If it isn't gonna kill someone, it's just damage to one enemy. Plus X% damage on critical hit for every X torn memory. Quitting should probably more or less be easy for the IDs that would use this ego. And on crit he also inflicts some bleed potency to the enemy. But yeah, the underwhelming part is that you more or less target your ally, so you won't clash with it, and you more or less want to kill him to get a big payoff, which is probably gonna be very situational and where that you can pull it off and it will actually be a gain for you. Now, what I can say, there's not that much difference between the Awakening skill and the Coercion skill, so him corroding into this might not be too bad. He will still target the ally with the least HP. He also still gains torn memories like he would normally. He deals more damage for every X torn memory and gains poison X torn memory and loses it again after the attack. The only big difference here is that basically he would deal more damage to the ally if he's corroded, and if he gets to kill the ally with his corroded first coin, we get an even bigger payoff. We apply poise to self and 3 allies, so 1 additional ally. Then the next coin deals more damage for X torn memory, so his AoE will hopefully also wipe out whatever he's targeting. And then we gain even more ego resources. We gaining it for all of his 3 skills instead of only skill 1 and 2. His ally kill fail condition is still the same, it's just some poise. Maybe it would be more poise potency, but that nothing really changed. The second coin also still only targets one enemy if the ally didn't get killed, and is more or less the same with more damage on critical hit and inflicting bleed on a crit. Then lastly we have the ego passive. After attack, if the target is killed, gain poise count. Also not the most amazing passive. It could be decent if you are in chain battles going up against a lot of trash mobs more or less, but it's nothing to really just use the ego for the passive for. So yeah, either this will be super busted and deal insane amounts of damage if you actually kill an ally, or it will be very gimmicky and probably just used for some stuff like railways and maybe stories sometimes, where you, I guess, could kill off a unit that did its thing, but did run out of ammo or anything like that. But even then, setting it up to kill a specific ally will still be probably kinda hard, since it will target the ally with the least HP always, so you would need to get them down first. And yeah, that's more or less it. Thanks for watching, see you around, bye bye.